Okay, I don't know who needs to hear this, but stop asking randos on the internet what their stats are when they say that they've gotten into like Harvard or Yale or something. I understand that you want to figure out what they did to get into the school, but it's not going to help you. Because that worked for them, it's not going to work for you. Colleges can pretty easily tell when somebody purposely did things just to get into college, and it's not going to actually boost your chances of admission if you just copy paste what somebody else did. Like, there are definitely things that would make sense for you to do. For example, if you're in the STEM field, you definitely should be pursuing research. Desperately trying to avoid this like beam of light because it's so hot. In fact, if you can get research in any field, I would definitely recommend it. But when you ask someone's stats, let's say they got a 1490 on the SAT and they had like some specific GPA, I don't know, like a 4.2, and they got into Yale. If you sit there and you think, oh cool, that's all I have to do to get into an Ivy, no, that doesn't apply to you. It might apply to them if the school recognizes that, you know, this student is low income and they probably didn't have any money for, you know, SAT tutoring, and maybe their weighted GPA was that low because their school just doesn't offer very many APs, because that is a thing, not all schools offer the same classes. Or maybe the university took into account some other circumstances that the student doesn't feel comfortable sharing with strangers on the internet. I had a student who lost a good chunk of her junior year for mental health reasons, like valid mental health reasons. I'm not going to talk too much about them here, but I think that that was like a pretty big reason that she got into some like big name schools. Certain schools I was like, yeah, that makes sense, but I think the reason I pushed her to apply to like really high tier ones was that I thought that that was a good enough reason that schools would accept for you know, a lack of extracurricular activities. She still kept her grades, which is amazing, but all that is to say, I don't want you to try to copy what other students did. You can take inspiration from other students, for sure. But one of the reasons we, you know, decided to start this TikTok is that we realized that we don't know what students don't know, and I've had, just from like lurking in comment sections of some videos, I've realized like, oh, there's more that we can share with students. If you have any questions, like things that you don't know, please feel free to leave a comment and ask. We are more than happy to help. But I would say, rather than asking for the stats of everybody on this app, instead focus on yourself and think, okay, how many difficult courses can I take? Any chance you have a chance to like take a hard class, take it. Take every AP that you possibly can and try to get an A in it. Oh, does that sound really difficult? Yeah, you're trying to get into an Ivy. Not everyone gets into an Ivy League university, and I know that that's really difficult to hear, but not everyone's owed an Ivy education. Those schools can choose from the best of the best, and they're going to pick the students who are willing to put in the hard work. It wouldn't be fair to reject those students just because you got tired and you really want it. Okay, and I know that sounds really, really harsh. I promise that there's a way to have fun with this. I know that that sounds really harsh, but this is why I kind of encourage my students to pursue extracurricular activities that they actually enjoy. Alright, I'm melting in this car, so I'm gonna have to film the rest of this in the office. No longer melting. Yeah, that's just to say, if you actually pursue extracurricular activities that you enjoy, I promise the application process will be less difficult and your high school experience will be more enjoyable. And yeah, that actually means you have to be an intellectually curious person. But I promise that process is fun if you let it be. We'll go into that more in a future video, but that's all I wanted to say.